So whenever you're a little kid, you kind of like always wonder what it's like to grow up, and it feels like you're never gonna get there. Like it kind of feels like you're always gonna be a child for the rest of your life. And so when you finally do get older, it's weird when you look back on your memories that you feel like you're actually there right now. And so it's interesting that we always feel like we're waiting for something, like no matter what stage you are in your life, it always seems like you're in a season of waiting. First of all, let me say, you're always waiting for something. There's always something that is around the corner, maybe that you don't see coming, or maybe that you don't want, but something, you're waiting on something whether you know it or not. First of all, Jesus waited in like 30 years before he even started his ministry. He spent all that time growing, learning, teaching, like all these things. Like even the Son of God knew, like, my time has not yet come. And he told his brothers that, his mother that, he understood what it meant to be waiting for something. Even if what you're doing right now is good, it doesn't mean that it needs to be done right now. That's even harder to understand, is when like you know what you're doing is a good thing and you know that God has called you to do something. Maybe he hasn't called you to do it right now. Maybe because just like Joseph, you know, he had a dream that his brothers were going to worship him one day. Now, he didn't understand what that would look like, but he had a promise from God. And so it took him many years he went through all these stages before he finally got to a place where he was ready to accept the calling. And, you know, what his brothers did to him, you know, if it hadn't have happened that way, if he hadn't have gone through any of that waiting period, he wouldn't have been able to do what God had called him to do many years later. And so I think it's so easy to get so discouraged when you're in a season of waiting, when you know God's promise for your life. And so I'm definitely in this season. I've been in a waiting season for a long time. Like I feel like I know God's called me to do something, and I felt the call before I graduated high school, and I really, really felt like I needed to go to seminary school, because I just felt like this calling on my life that like when I was saved, like nothing was the same after that. Like something was put in my life that I knew I was going to be doing, but I still don't even know what that is yet. And so it's really frustrating when you feel like what you're doing is a good thing and it's not taking off yet, or you're just not there yet. And it just sucks. Like it just does. But I want to encourage everyone today that waiting is good. God is so good. God invented waiting. God invented seasons. He invented everything for a reason, and he created the process for a reason. And the waiting period that you're in is good. And you may not see it now, but you are being purified, and you are going to experience the growth that you're gonna at some point when you get to that point that you've been waiting for. If maybe you're waiting on a prayer to be answered. I've been waiting on a prayer to be answered for years. That doesn't mean I'm gonna give up on it. And so really what I wanted to share with you from my personal experience this morning is that I literally was writing to God in my journal when I do my quiet time. I was like, God, I've been praying for this for a long time, and I'm like wondering what's gonna happen, like what's next? Where am I supposed to be at? I just feel like I'm in a season of waiting. And I was like, God, I know we're always waiting on something. We're always growing, learning, like we're always in the process. But right now I feel like I really am waiting. Like I feel like I can't be unleashed until I get through this period. And so it was really weird because I turned to my devotional like I do every day, and I just want to read it to you guys. It's a devotion by, it's Streams in the Desert, and I recommend it because it kind of makes you think for yourself, you know what I mean? But anyways, I just want to read a little part of it, and it really hit me because it was like, okay, God hears me and I hear him. So it was just one of those like really good moments. So the verse it So the verse that it uses, and it's weird because like this is like a daily devotion, and so today's May 22nd morning time, and I was like, okay, that's really weird because it's like the exact same day. I believe God speaks to us however he wants to, whether it's through a book or through a person or a feeling. Like God will speak to you. He will get the message to you. But it says, Job 34:29, he giveth quietness. And then it goes on to say that the calm sea says more to the thoughtful soul than the same sea in a storm and tumult. Tumult? I don't know. But we need the understanding of eternal things and the sentiment of the infinite to be able to feel this. Wait for it. I'm going to skip this part, but let me get to this part. It says, this is what hit me. The silent seasons of life are imperative. The winter is the mother of spring. The night is the fountain of the physical forces of the day. The silent soil is the womb where vegetable life is born. The greatest things in our spiritual life come out of waiting hours, when all activity is suspended and the soul learns to be silent unto God, while he shapes and molds us for future activities and fruitful years. The greatest forces in nature are quiet ones. The law of gravitation is silent yet invincible. So, back of all our activities and actions, the law of faith is the mightiest force of the spiritual world, and mightiest when quietest and least demonstrative. When the soul is anchored to the will of God and his exceeding great and precious promises, with the calm, unwavering confidence that his power and love are behind us and can never fail us until all his will for us is accomplished, our life must be victorious. So the reason why obviously that stuck out to me is because I literally just prayed like, God, I'm waiting for something. And then I read that and it was like, I am waiting. All right, so I'm right. Like, and so that's what I want to move into is understanding what season you're in. You would not be surprised, like, when you walk outside and it's super hot, like, you know what season you're in. Like, you know it is spring or summer, wherever you live. It's spring here where I live, and it's like it's like 90 something degrees. It's ridiculous. When you go outside, you know what season you're in. It's pretty obvious, but sometimes you have one of those normal days where it's not too hot or not too cold. And because of where I live in Georgia, it feels like when it's one of those days where it's not too hot or not too cold, it could be winter or fall or spring. Like, it could be any one of those times. It's definitely not the end of winter or summer or at all, but it's like in between. Sometimes like you don't know what season you're in, and so you have to step back and really ask God, like, okay, what am I supposed to be looking at right now? Am I supposed to be looking at the color of the trees? Am I supposed to be look at the trees, look around you, look and see what season you're in, look and see maybe some patterns that arise, maybe something God is trying to point your focus to. Like, just look around you and just kind of realize where you're at. And I do want to give encouragement to those people that feel like they're in a season of waiting for whatever it is. Just know that waiting is good. You are learning something and you are growing even when you don't feel it. And so just pray to God and understand that everything has a season. Everything in your life is building up to something else, and you just have to trust the refining process, and that is who God is. God is a purifier of gold and silver, and he is the potter and we are the clay. So be encouraged today. It's okay to be waiting. You can even enjoy your season of waiting. It is possible. So I hope that encouraged you all today. God definitely spoke to me this morning about this, and I felt like I needed to share it with you. So, bye!